So hey guys, what is up? In this video, I'm going to explain a very important concept for someone who's trying to learn, and that is variables in programming and how they work. So right here, what I have is this file called hello.html, and this is an HTML file. And in here, you can see that I have a comment. So right here at the top of this line, these are comments, and then these are just notes that I put in myself for what I should explain in this video. So pretty much for HTML, you can include your code. So here's a block of code I have right here, and you can actually go ahead and include it by just having script tags and then putting where the source of your code is. So for example, on my desktop, I have a file named hello.js, and if I put that right here, then what will happen is this page will go here and it'll load all this code, and then it'll come back here. So let's go ahead and do that. And you don't have to specify. So if you look here, it says that its type is text.javascript. Type equals text.javascript, but that doesn't really matter for our purposes. You don't really have to specify right now. So if I go here and I reload this page, and first let me go in the developer console to show you that actually the code is actually coming from where it's coming from, right? So let me clear this log. So if you go to this code, you'll see the first thing that it's doing. This is console log, so it's actually outputting what the date is. So if I refresh this page, hello.html, you'll see what the date is. So pretty much that's how you include and load your code from HTML into your page. So now let's go over this code and explain what exactly a variable is. So if you look here for these first two lines, the first line is actually declaring a variable. So what this is it's saying, hey, when this page is loaded, grab me what the current date is and store that in the computer's memory, right? And the second line, console.log, it takes as an input what the variable is and it will output its value. So if I do this, for example, right? If I do console.log, you should see the exact same date. So what happened was when this page was loaded, it asked what the current date was and it stored that in memory. So if I go ahead and output what the date is, which is the variable that's stored, it's always going to be the same because that value is stored into memory. So pretty much with and then to open this window, in case you guys don't know and you haven't seen the other video, you want to go to View on this is Chrome browser, Developer, and then you want to go to JavaScript Console. So if you write console.log and you put in your variable, you'll be able to see the actual values for these variables. And you could also just type in the variable name like I did right here, and you'll also see it. So now that you know what a variable is, which is pretty much just a placeholder in memory for something, there's actually a few different types of variables. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's important to know these different types because these are the most primitive types of variables that you have. So the first type is a number, right? So what I'm doing with this line of code right here is I'm saying, hey, memory, create a variable named num, put its value equal to 1, and store that. So if I go ahead and then this undefined doesn't really mean anything. It's just the browser's yeah. So if I go ahead here and I type in num, its value is 1, right? So memory it's allocated for it, its value is 1. So if I type in type of, right, num, you'll see that it's one of the primitive types, which is a number, right? So the other primitive type of a variable is a string. So you could see for the num, there's no quotation marks here, right? For all strings are pretty much the variable type of string is defined by having quotation marks around it. So I could even, for example, do var string equals 1, right? And if I do type of string here, is a string, right? Well, if I go here and I remove these quotation marks, and I do the same thing, it's a number. And the third type of variable is what's called a Boolean. So booleans it's pretty much a math term which stands for like whether something is true or false. So if you could put a number here like var num equals 1, you could put something in quotation marks here, or you can put something like true or false. So if I do that, and I do type of here, then you can see that it's a Boolean. And where these will be used mainly is for if statements and conditional logic flow. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about variables. I'll go more in depth in the next video lesson.